This video will show you how to configure the Emech G1 actuator to enable the hold and standby features. The auxiliary input port of the Emech actuator allows the actuator to accept a binary signal from a device such as a flow switch, a flow sensor, a level switch, or from a manual switch, or it can accept a signal from a PLC device. This binary signal is then used to enable the hold and standby features. First step is to connect the power supply terminals of the actuator to a 24 volt DC power supply. Then you turn on the actuator by pushing the green button and holding it for about 2 seconds. Connect one side of the USB to serial adapter cable to your PC or laptop's USB port. Then connect the other side of the cable to the supplied serial cable. Then you screw the serial cable onto the port labeled 3 on the underside of the actuator. Next, connect the supplied Emech auxiliary cable to the port number 2 on the underside of the actuator. The auxiliary input is a 4-pole M8 male connector that accepts a 5 to 24 volt configurable active low or active high signal. The switching device is placed between pin 1 and pin 3 of the connector. Pin 4 on the connector outputs 24 volts DC, which can be used to power the auxiliary device, but the device must not draw more than 100 milliamps. Also connect the supplied temperature probe to port number 1 on the underside of the actuator. When the standby and hold features of the actuator are enabled, the actuator will go to a preset position for a set period of time after receiving an enable signal from the auxiliary input. After the signal changes state, the actuator can either resume normal control or go to another set position. A typical application would be filling fluid in a vessel. The actuator will accept an enable signal from the vessel level switch. When the vessel is full, the level switch will trigger the actuator to close the valve. This will isolate both inlet ports of the valve and cease filling the tank. When the level switch is triggered low, the auxiliary signal can start up the actuator and valve again, and this will begin to fill the tank. In this example, when the actuator receives an enable signal, it will stay in position for 5 seconds, and when 5 seconds has expired, it will move to 0 degrees, which is completely closing the valve. The actuator will stay in position until the signal is disabled. When this occurs, the actuator will open up the valve to 88 degrees, and after 3 seconds the actuator will resume normal control. The table shows valid configuration settings to be used when hold and standby features are enabled in the actuator. First step is to establish communications with the actuator by clicking on Tools and Detect Emech Actuator. After the actuator is detected, click on Tools, select Standard Config, then select Unlock Actuator Configuration. Next, select Configuration Devices. Move down and select 22 controller. Move down and select the flow gain factor. Give it a value of 0. This will enable the hold and standby features. Move to the left and select timeout standby. In this example, I'm giving it a value of 5 seconds. Move to the left and select angle standby. In this example, I'm giving it a value of 0, which is equivalent to 0 degrees. Move to the left and select angle hold. In this example, I'm giving it a value of 3000, which is equivalent to about 88 degrees. Move to the left and select time hold. In this example, I'm giving it a value of 3 seconds. Finally, select Tools, Standard Config, Lock Actuator Configuration. The actuator is now set up so that the hold and standby features have been enabled.